This comment took the words right out of my mouth. Like, seriously, why do people get so obsessed with an MCS win-loss ratio? It just never made sense to me, and never really bothered me. I do admit I was almost that way, because I was almost brainwashed by people getting mad over Korra's losses, but then I look into media analysis and realized an MC doesn't need to win a lot. Heck, Korra is always nerfed, or else there wouldn't be much of a fight due to how crazy strong Korra is. Big example is getting poisoned by Zahir. People always clowning Mark for losing when it's stated he holds back a lot, which is probably also a nerf, or else he would win a lot of his fights. Honestly, that would be boring. I'm glad both Korra and Mark Grayson don't win a lot. Let's be honest, there wouldn't be much tension or drama in their battles if they did. And again, would be boring. Also, the obsession of 1-versus-1 battles bothers me so much. I swear, it feels like people have this shonen anime mentality that expect the MC to win all the time, especially in 1-versus-1s, which is usually a fair fight. Let's be honest. That's not always the case. Korra, Mark, the Immortal, heck, Takemichi are just crazy clowned for always losing fights. People need to admit that they're not invincible, no pun intended, and that, especially in the beginning, they're gonna lose, or lose a lot at one point. Korra lost at the beginning because she was isolated at the compound and never fought. On top of that, she was taught outdated bending, and the White Lotus only prepared her for combat, not the world, politics, and developing herself and abilities outside of training.
I get that, but I don't think keeping me locked up in this compound like a prisoner is what he had in mind.
Just taking Naga out for a stroll. Don't worry, we're not going far.
The island.
Is that why you're keeping the White Lotus sentries around to watch my every move?
Yes.
Yeah, you're telling me to embrace freedom, but you won't even let me listen to the radio? And forget about leaving this island. I've never had a girlfriend to hang out with and talk to before, except for Naga. This is nice.
Being cooped up and hidden away from the world isn't helping me become a better avatar.
Mark constantly holds back because he's a good person and holds heavily his beliefs of justice and humanity. He doesn't want to kill, which usually results of him losing. Takemichi isn't much of a fighter, actually, and he loses his battles a lot, like almost all the time, I'm not kidding. He's usually a diplomat that tries to battle with only his friends most of the time, which goes to show that you don't need to win with fists and violence. Mark won against Powerplex by hugging him and then later was in jail. Korra won against Kuvira by talking to her, and she admitted defeat and surrendered. Takemichi wins with the help of his friends and trying to stop terrible events from happening to prevent the future. I'm just saying that a character doesn't need to win by using fists, and they're not always going to be the undefeated. Now, I understand why people want them to win so much. I mean, they're the MC. We always want to root for them to succeed, but it gets too far really just constantly clowning them for quote-unquote losing all their fights, which is usually not even true. People just ignore context and just want death battles. And somehow winning by not using fists doesn't count. Trust me, I see a lot of people say Korra versus Kuvira doesn't count because she didn't beat her to a pulp in her second round with her, and even goes as far to usually just ignoring her second round and clown for her first round where she lost due to her PTSD. Like I said, ignoring context. Same with Invincible, claiming Mark loses all the time even though it's explained he holds back a lot and has won fights. And Takemichi, who usually depends his friends to do all the fighting and wins by that. I'm just saying you don't need fists all the time. I swear in media, particularly in action-packed shows and movies, there is a tendency to focus heavily on physical strength and dominance, leading to the expectation that the main character should always win their fights. However, as I said, context is important. The true strength of a character often lies in their resilience, determination, and ability to find other ways to achieve their goals, rather than just physical strength alone. It's important to not ignore the nuances and context in each situation, and recognize that the portrayal of victory can take various forms. Now let's look at the definition of a fight according to Google. In the verb definition, take part in a violent struggle involving the exchange of physical blows or the use of weapons. Then there's noun definition, a violent confrontation or struggle. See how it doesn't mention an exchange physical blows or weapons? In its other definitions, it also acknowledges that a fight is a form resistance of an opposing force. Engage in a war or battle. There was another war to fight, struggle to put out a fire, especially a large one, quarrel or argue. She didn't want to fight with her mother all the time. Attempt to repress a feeling or an expression of a feeling. I think you get the point. You can see the rest of the definitions on Google, of course, and it acknowledges a fight doesn't manifest in a form of a typical fair one versus one that a lot of people obsessed over. It can be way more nuanced than that. Thanks for watching and have a good day.